Chocobo GP. It's good. Very wholesome. Let's get into it. So Chocobo GP, have you heard of it? It's the racing game. It's got all your favorite Final Fantasy characters in it. It's a full price game. Costs about $50. You can grab that, or you can grab a free light version that's available on the Nintendo Switch. You drive around, you pick your Chocobo or your Final Fantasy character, you can have a good time. Yay! But if you really want to unlock the cool stuff, you're going to have to get some microtransactions, some mini buys we call them. Let's not get any dirty words in here. You're going to have to get into the mini buys. And the mini buys are pretty aggressively pushed at you, even in the full priced version of the game, because, what if they want to spend the money? We should take it from them. Of course, you can also, buy like a prize pass to unlock things. But the time spent to unlock things is, as you can imagine with these fucking shitty ripoff services, always abysmal. How abysmal is it? Well, winning a tournament barely gets you like 1/10 of the way towards level 60, I believe, and the ultimate reward is Cloud Strife being playable there. You have to pay, of course, for the prize pass itself. It's basically serving as a battle pass. Even worse if you're trying to grind on your own without spending any money on the game. And it turns out that basically the full economy of this whole system is insanely bullshit. But if you were to decide to say, fuck it, I'll just play and save up the points it takes to buy something special and unlockable like Cloud or Squall or whatever you wanted, you have a time limit of, I think it said 4 or 5 months before your points are deleted because they expire, so you cannot save up for that much time, even if you wanted to unlock that shit. Thanks for your money.
So, I think what might be the most dire part of this whole thing is that when you purchase Chocobo for $60, and literally the first thing that happens when you hit the title screen is an ad for the battle pass comes up before you even see the main menu. And this is within like two, like this is the first thing after you've spent the money, is you get hit with an ad on how to spend more money. What's wild is like the game's good. Like it's a good game, but it's like actively like fighting your sense of taste at all points, to the point where it taints the whole thing and just kind of ruins it. And what's double crazy to me is that despite how disgusting this thing is, Gran Turismo 7 is actually worse.
That's next. We're on. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, yeah. In particular, right? Okay. To specify, the free currency that you gain for grinding expires. The premium currency does not expire. It is pretty fucking disgusting. And I think you kind of have that. We've kind of talked about this before, but when you play a game that's like a free version of a thing, a cell phone game, an iPhone game, whatever, you kind of expect a certain level of that pushed at you, and you're like, well, it's the cost of doing business for this. But when you're going to offer multiple multiple versions of the game, and one that is supposed to be just a normal retail ass game, and you're still finding a way to put that in there because you can't resist the fucking urge. You can't help yourself. You're frothing at the mouth to get that out of any whales you can find. I don't care how good the kart racer is. I don't give a fuck if it's a decent racer or not. This is disgusting. This is the type of shit. Awful. And the fact that it's like, you kind of hope 5 years ago when we were talking about this kind of story, and you're like, maybe, the pushback will just, it'll keep the wolves at the door and not have them come inside. And it's like, no, they're gonna keep trying. There's always gonna be another one of these, and they're gonna try to push. And like, okay, it's been a while since we've tried the last one. Let's try it again. You know, and whatever, they've had an update to the story where they went, oh, sorry to hear everyone's so upset, we're gonna relook at whatever. You know, it's like at that point, it's like, what's the fucking point? Like, that's the type of shit that when you look back at any older game that's already existing in a genre like that, and it's just buy game, drive cart, unlock cool carts by playing, end of story, the most simple thing.
It's extra gross on this one because the cute characters like seems to appeal to like, children. And they're going to be not savvy to this crap. It feels particularly predatory.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're forever, like I said, you'll have these people that work that are specifically going to find the best way to monetize, going to find the best way to stretch that monetization out, going to find the best way to introduce money. They're going to try to balance all of that shit. And the idea of the like perceived outrage and then like or expected outrage and then roll it back to like a saner rate or whatever. I don't know. I just like, well, it's easy for me to talk about this when it's also something, it's a game that I personally don't really care, that much about what this is. But I just kind of hope, or you feel like you would want to find a way to send a stronger message. I don't know I don't know if it's just like seeing this and then thinking about how you talk about how 14 has just fought back all of these types of practices. They've been kept clean.
Yoshi P
It's
is
unbelievable to imagine what this would have been if they were allowed to do everything they wanted to with that like unbelievable success of a game.
Yoshi P has been working for a decade now as the director and producer of both the large FF14 team as well as now the entire business unit associated with it, with a almost entirely unbroken staff, which means they're all super loyal and they bring in good numbers and they work 6 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Like,
and they give him FF16 because he kills it on big projects. So like, he's insulated.
I mean, I'm imagining that like his elevator ride up to the floor he's on just has like, the microtransaction dudes from various departments kind of trying to get a word in real quick before he walks into the office and beeps. They're trying so hard.
I don't know how office loyalty works. I've never worked in an office, but you do, because you have worked in an office and you've worked in game dev. If there was a lead that ran your whole department and they managed to hit their targets, do good work, and make sure that you didn't even have a full 8-hour workday for the same salary, I like to think that that would engender some loyalty in the company.
Yes, it would. But that loyalty goes as far as you can continue to appease of investors.
Yeah.
There's a hard limit on it.
14 keeps doing bigger and bigger numbers.
And
so, like,
I was there during there was, well, basically when there was a turnover of leadership over subjects like this kind of thing, Wada was out. So it absolutely goes all the way to the core of the company, and how much you're willing to appease those investors will determine whether or not the board wants you to stay in that chair or not. If you put too much loyalty.
I believe he is on the board now.
Sorry, your audio cut out.
I said I believe Yoshi P is on the board now.
Oh, yeah, Well, fucking, I mean, you
Like,
did if
obviously, he's only one person on the board, but like
yeah.
he's at the top of the company now.
Then again, every board has its different levels of power, and like we've heard about some companies that have like one person can veto everything if you're on the board period versus others where it's not quite that being the case. So right. And yes, alongside Chocobo GP, you've got Gran Turismo, who is also trying to find their own path to hunt the whales.
I gotta say, GT7 is so scummy that I would personally, not a lawyer or legal expert, would say it borders on the criminal.
Yeah. So, I mean, to work backwards, I suppose, GT7 is now Sony's lowest rated user score on Metacritic ever. Sitting at, well, at time of report 2.5. I don't know if it's gotten worse since. But that is in contrast to the critics review score of 87. So, what happened? Right? Why? Well, basically, it's just Gran Turismo Once Upon a Time was a game with a bunch of cars in it, and you'd buy it and you'd drive them around, and then you would unlock more cars, and then you'd have a good time.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, I haven't been paying the closest attention to the franchise. Microtransactions have started to become more and more common. And this time around, people who have been longtime fans and covering the game are basically practically giving up on it, or at the very least, mentioning that they'll never ever participate in the micro that it's offering. There are single cars, that cost $38 to purchase to unlock in the game.
That's right.
They've patched the game to reduce the amount of money you get by just playing normally.
So I'd like to clarify that one specifically.
Okay.
Because the patch isn't even the issue. The issue is that the version they sent out to review had no store and did not connect online for anything other than online races.
Okay.
In between the review period and the launch day, it got day one patched, and the day one
Those
patch
fuckers
gutted normal race rewards every event in the game. It forced online DRM requirements for
the post review patch.
It added the store.
Oh wow. Yeah.
All these reviews went out on embargo on like day
A completely different version of the game.
And it's a different game. It is a different game.
The criminal audacity. Yeah, okay, go on.
On top of that, here's how you buy credits in the game. There's 4 options. 100K for $250, $250 for $5, $750 for $10, or 2 million credits for $19.99. Now you may have noticed there's nothing in between 750,000 credits or 2 million credits, right? Well, turns out a shit ton of the game's cars lie in between 750,000 credits and 2 million credits.
Guess you're going to have to go for the high one.
And then you have not enough left off to get a second $1.5 million credit. So you got to get another million credit. But you can't buy a million credit. You can only buy 750,000 credit. Like, it is right on the line of criminal.
But wait, there's more. There are loot boxes, and apparently, with the patch aforementioned, loot boxes are rigged so you always get the lowest reward possible.
What?
This is also from the reviews that people were noticing. So
Oh, I didn't see this.
it's it's crazy. Um, so yeah, people are basically just like, we would give this a
Well, that is
0.
criminal.
Yeah,
That's
we
violation
would
of
give this
gambling
a we
laws.
would literally give this a nothing if we could. Um. So the statement, of course, has been addressed. They've put out the thing. We're gonna resolve the future content, unspecified point in the future. Yeah, but it like grant that's you've effectively killed Gran Turismo
Oh
until you
yeah.
put something else out. That's a complete non-product. Um, yeah. The I don't know what the largest
Oh.
discrepancy has ever been between user score and critic score, but this shows you like a problem with the system, especially if you have an early embargo, and then I can patch to lie with so that what you give your reviewers is literally just not what's going to come out. Like that's just a lie. What did you just
Okay.
get?
I have the statement from 4 days ago. Blah 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 blah. This is the reason for the patch. Blah blah blah.
Oh, forced online, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
Out of nowhere, was not in the earlier builds. Also, some event rewards have been adjusted. I'd like to explain the reasons for it and our plans going forward. In GT7, I would like to have users enjoy lots of cars and races, even without microtransactions. At the same time, the pricing of cars is an important element that conveys their value and rarity. So I do think it's important for it to be linked with the real world prices. I want to make GT7 a game in which you can enjoy a lot of variety of cars in a different ways. And if possible, would like to try and avoid a situation where a player must mechanically keep replaying certain events over and over. Okay, I don't know about you, but I don't play video games to reenact my financial nightmare.
Like, hold on. Did you feel this way when Gran Turismo didn't do these things? Did you have these feelings when the games were coming out and didn't force you to have this bullshit rarity? Like,
Hey, you know who the
where did
you
these
know who
feelings?
the
Did these only happen to come now when you're dropping this one version of the game?
I used to know a guy in high school named Mike. Mike was the biggest car nerd I've ever met in my life. Mike could tell you, at 15, could tell you every single thing about every car that's ever existed. He fucking loved cars. But do you know what he was? He was kind of poor. He was like middle class poor. So he did get a car. Do you know what car he got? He got a fucking Honda Civic. You know
Yep.
why? Because Honda Civic's cheap as fuck. It's a
Yep.
decent enough car. You
Yep.
know what that dude did all day? He played Gran Turismo. And he would tune every single fucking car in Gran Turismo. And he fucking crushed every event in Gran Turismo, including the fucking Monaco race, which is like the fucking 24-hour nonsense thing. Do you think that my friend Mike would be sitting there going, boy, I can't wait to not be able to buy a Lamborghini in Gran Turismo because I can't buy one in real life? That's the experience I want to have with my fantasy car game.
Do you remember years ago when we talked about like Project Cars and how they found a market of insane hardcore car enthusiast whales to just feed them money
Yeah.
and keep the grift going? Is it possible that like they just got jealous of that grift and
I don't
wanted
know.
is
I
it, you
don't know.
know? I just
We've come a long way from, quote, I want to drive a car on my television, end quote. Which is the one sentence design idea for Gran Turismo.
I would like the car to look like a car is probably the second step you got there. Anyway, yeah, just the fact like multiple just garbage fucking like literal criminal shit coming out of even like well in particular these are two racing games, but it's like I'm just It's tiring. It's tiring to fucking read
Man,
this bullshit, dude.
whatever. If you want to play a fucking good racing game, fucking grab an Xbox or a PC. Forza's great.
Forza, just hit the Forza. Yeah,
Forza's just great.
yeah. I again, I'm on the outside, but like
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of sim racing games, but like, even I can tell, like, yeah, no, Forza's good.
um, yeah. So all that going on. Nintendo doing Nintendo. It's good stuff going on in the fighting games. Good stuff going on in the FromSoft, and